And I just feel like, there's something good that has to come of it. There's got to be a reason that it happened, and I hope that it is to inspire other people.
Becoming paralyzed is many people's worst nightmare, but to me, it's my reality. I'm Cruz, and today, I'm bringing you into my world. Let's hope you can get some perspective, and let's have a chat. Hey guys, welcome back to this week's episode of Paralyze, the show that aims to try and change your perspective on just about everything in your life. My name is Cruz Bogle, and I'm your wheelchair-bound quadriplegic host. And here, strapped in the chair with me today, I have Lisa Ofsie. She had her right leg amputated just about 2 years ago, and she's got a pretty wild story and an amazing perspective, so I'm glad to have you on the show. How are you?
I'm great. I'm excited to be here, and my leg is just amputated just above the knee. This socket right here, my residual limb goes all the way to the bottom. So basically they took off the above the knee and the condyles of the femur, and then attached my quadricep to my hamstring.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you know, obviously now what it's like to live with a disability, but we've got you completely strapped in here, so this is kind of giving you a feel for a different type of disability. So we got you strapped at the chest, the arms, the legs, and around your ankles here. What's it feeling like so far? You've only been strapped in for a couple minutes now.
As soon as I got strapped in, I had itches on my nose, and
Yeah.
I couldn't. I'm just trying to sit still. I'm a New Yorker, so I talk with my hands a lot. So yeah, this will be a challenge. I didn't think at first that I'd even be able to speak to you with my hands strapped
And look
in.
at you go.
Oh my God, look, I'm using words and everything. Yeah.
So yeah, the point of the show is to try and change people's perspectives, whether they're living with a similar disability to somebody like you or I, or they just have a negative outlook or mindset on life in general. Hopefully they can watch this, hear our stories and how we've overcome these obstacles, and take something from it and apply it to their lives and be better off.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found, through my recovery process, my journey to where I am today, is that really everybody's got something, but ours you could just see.
Right.
So, everyone has a story to tell.
Exactly.
I just met up with a couple of women, and one of them was like, yeah, I lost my fiance in Iraq, and the other one's like, yeah, I lost my daughter, and all these things you can't see when you look at them,
Right.
But everybody's got something, that they're struggling with or that they have to overcome, and
Right.
A
lot of the time, like things that you can't see, like mental disabilities or dealing with losing a child or a husband, is like even more crippling than a physical disability.
Right, because people can look at us and go, wow, look at you, they kind of, I don't know, they can get inspired.
Yeah.
Well, I certainly am inspired by you and seeing what you get out there and do. I feel like, there's a reason why this happened, right? It wasn't like, oh my God, you did something wrong in your life, you were a bad person, you didn't take care of yourself, because it was none of those things. So I'm not a diabetic, it wasn't cancer. There's so many ways that people lose limbs.
Yeah.
It just was, a genetic problem that I've had my whole life. With circulation problems in my right leg, and when I was 30 I had bypass surgery on my right leg, and I suppose I could have lost my leg back then.
Yeah.
And I was fortunate enough to have that surgery and be given another 25 years of a very good full life.
Right.
And only to then all of a sudden be smacked in the face with this, and I just feel like there's something good that has to come of it. There's got to be a reason that it happened, and I hope that it is to inspire other people.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure you are. I've just become aware of you and met you, but you've already inspired me, and I'm sure there are many people out there who have also been inspired by you.
Well, thanks. They say that, it's hard to imagine.
Right.
I don't feel on the days when you're laying around going, oh my God, this sucks. You can't imagine that you're inspiring anyone, but
yeah, I'm sure different people will get different levels of inspired by you. It could be something small, like if you're at yoga, somebody sees you and then she's getting back in her car. I'm like, oh, I wonder how she gets back in her car. That's amazing.
Well, that's one of the things that's so freaking annoying is getting in and out of my car.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like I got to go ass first, like my 84-year-old mother.
Yeah.
You can't just swing a leg in, can't swing a leg out. and carrying packages is a challenge because the weight, distribution is different.
Right.
So silly little things that you never thought of, but yes, my hope is that some way or somehow in some way, people will be inspired as they are by you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. I think I've always had circulation problems. Like, I remember my teenage years, I had trouble, like, walking distances and things. I would walk a couple steps and I would have pain. I'd have to stop. I'd walk a couple steps, had pain, stop. So, I guess when I was 30, I had, like, a bug bite on my foot and it wouldn't heal. And I tried lots of different treatments, like wet to dry treatments, to try to heal the wound.
Right.
And there was no blood flow getting down there. So after I got a good infection and I couldn't even step on my foot, I had to go into the hospital and they did bypass surgery. So I was in the hospital that time for 28 days.
Wow.
And I had just finished massage therapy school at that point, and I thought, oh, great, now what? And I remember somebody coming in after my surgery and saying, you're never going to be able to do what you used to do. And I was like, well, thanks a lot, and please don't come back and see me again, don't tell me I can't do something, right?
Right, yeah.
And of course, like everything, it's like a process. But over the years, it all got better. I guess my body kind of got used to it, and I was able to do that and more. I mean, before this all happened, I was about to turn 55. I was in the best shape of my entire life.
Yeah.
Hadn't eaten sugar for the most part for an entire year. I had a 6-day-a-week Ashtanga yoga practice, which was pretty intense. And then boom, one day I'm in practice and I'm like, wow, something feels eerily familiar. It was a similar pain that you only, once you've experienced it, you recognize it,
Right. Yeah.
And I kind of avoided it. I didn't know what to do. I didn't have any doctors here. And then I spoke to a friend of mine who said, with your history, your circulation history, I would go to the ER. And that was like the beginning of this, process and story.
Wow.
So I was admitted that day and had a procedure done. I was there for about, 13 days. Got out. And I remember going back to the beach, which was like my favorite place to go.
Yeah.
And I was sitting on my blanket and I thought, let me just, look at me. I got like, a new lease on life. Let me walk down to the edge of the water and walk along the shoreline. And I got like a couple of feet and I thought, nope, this doesn't feel good.
No.
So, went home and my foot started kind of turning colors. And so I found myself back in the emergency room. They redid the procedure that they had done the first time, which I couldn't tell you what it's called, but it was pretty intense. They put a catheter up my left femoral artery and across down into my right, and I had to lay flat for 24 hours. And then they went in and basically like roto-rooted my right leg.
Wow.
And I was just all black and blue and bruised and had to, be in the hospital for a pretty significant amount of time, those 2 times. And left the second time, and then I was like, yeah, this didn't work. Like immediately that one didn't work.
Yeah.
And then the next visit to the emergency room and admission was a below-knee amputation, and that just never healed. That was probably the worst of the whole process.
Yeah.
Having just an open wound and looking, I didn't look in, but I had a nurse that would come twice a day and pack the wound.
Right.
And she'd be like, yeah, it looks good. And meanwhile, like everybody that would look at it would just like, recoil in horror. It was like,
Right.
oh my God, you could see in and see my bones and my tissue, and it wasn't healing. And so after that, they tried one final attempt to keep me, to keep my knee. And they opened up the original bypass, and it still didn't work. And then I became an above-knee amputee.
Wow.
And 5 days later, I was home.
Just like that.
Yeah, and it was like, okay, here you go. Here's a walker. Good luck. Basically, that's what it's like. So you kind of have to learn on the fly.
Yeah, I bet. So when the doctor says to you, we have to amputate your leg, like what are you mentally, what are you feeling? How does that feel?
So my friend was in from out of town, and we go to the doctor and they do the Doppler and they're like, And so you're just in shock, basically. It's just, that time is pretty much a blur for me because I was so over-medicated, that...
Because you were in pain?
Yeah, and my surgeon didn't know what to do, so they called in the pain management doctors, and they're like, hey, what do you want? What do you need? They're like drug dealers.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know. That's why they called you. You tell me, what do I need?
Yeah.
So I was just on way too much medication, and after my above knee, I just went right to another, like, more reputable pain management doctor to get off the rest of the meds. Like, I took myself off some. He took me off some, and now I'm on no pain meds.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Before this happened, you said, when you were 30, you had the bypass surgery. Was it at that point, like, had you thought about, like, this could happen, or even then you...
No, I think I was just in complete denial.
Yeah.
And I thought once they did that, and to have it be good for 25 years and then all of a sudden it's not good, it's like, what the...
Yeah.
Wait a minute. I thought this would last forever, and people are like, no, it doesn't last forever, But I really had no idea, and I never prepared myself for it, you're never prepared for anything like this.
Yeah. We kind of briefly chatted about it earlier, but from things like this that you survive and the obstacles that you get over, it just makes you appreciate so much more, and it makes life kind of that much more beautiful.
True.
But yeah, people, before it happens to you or you have to deal with it firsthand, you really have no idea.
Hey, like, why would you ever think, wow, I wonder what it would be like if I ever had to,
Everything taken
Yeah.
from me. Yeah.
Like, it does change your perspective, like, in real interesting ways, like, afterwards, your gratitude list changes.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, after this happened and when I was, mourning the loss of my leg, I was so grateful for the fact that I still had my left leg and that I had my two arms, because I'm like, I wear my hair in a braid every day. Like, what would I do? How would I do this? Or, just thank God I have this left leg, and thank God I was in good shape when this happened. And even though after, 5 months in and out of the hospital, I was just like skin and bones with no muscle tone, but it was in there,
Right.
and I knew I could get it back. But nobody thinks about this,
Yeah.
Just anything can happen anytime. And I think what the message in that is to really appreciate what you have.
Exactly.
It even goes to, like, vanity purposes, like, as a woman, that was a big thing for me, to lose a leg.
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't wear my skinny jeans and my heels anymore. Like, how am I gonna look like a girl? So I went out and got, like, fake nails, because now I'm a girl because I have fake nails, right?
Right.
And now I've got to wear Converse sneakers the rest of my life and flip-flops, People aren't gonna know I'm a girl. And, the point is that, every time I'm looking at myself and saying, wow, I wish I was this, or I wish I was that, 10 years passes and you go back and you think, oh my God, when I was 25, man, I thought I was this, but now I wish I was that.
Right.
So it just makes you kind of appreciate and enjoy where you are, because we're not going to be here ever again.
Right.
It's like an interesting thing that you can think it and read it and see it all you want, and until you kind of experience it, it doesn't mean anything. It's just kind of words, But I think you're incredible, and like, if I'm ever feeling bad for myself, like, oh God, I took my leg off, and I want to go get something in the kitchen, and my walker, and if it's a drink, it's going to be spilling, or I have to move, like, ever so slightly, and like, I got to move the walker and gingerly hop, or else it'll just spill all over the place. I think, wow, when Cruz wants to just get up and do something, that's not even, I can't even imagine.
Right.
So everything that you do, you need help with, right?
Yep.
Which is, like, incredible to me.
Yeah.
You know?
That's why I got Kyle over here, my left and right hand
Kyle,
man.
I mean, what a great, how great that you have someone, like your right, left, and your great attitude.
That's mostly what I want to get across, is that whatever situation you're in, whether it's you can't move any of your limbs and you need people to help you with stuff, or you're in traffic on your way to work, or you get fired from your job, or your girlfriend or boyfriend leaves you, like, there's going to be this time of down and negativity that that's unavoidable. That's going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
But you can, like, a positive mindset and your mentality can lift you out of that and keep you above that. And it's not always easy, but that's the way to carry on and continue living your life.
That's my biggest struggle still to this day.
Yeah.
Now, while I used to hate traffic and all that kind of stuff, and it was like, oh my God, like, what is that going to do? It's not going to get me to work those 2 hours faster.
Right.
It's just, it is what it is. It used to drive me insane, those kinds of things. And of course, things still happen that may upset me or get me worked up. But, it's a work in progress always, you know, and attitude, both of us could be just like curled up in bed and be like, oh, woe is me, this is it.
Right.
Now what?
Right.
But what happened with me was that, I found myself sitting for about a week in September, and I'm like, this cannot be my life. I cannot just sit here. Like, I need a purpose.
Yeah.
I got to get out and do something and make a difference. This didn't just happen so I could, whatever. So that's when I came up with my little tank top thing, and I was trying to think of a name, and it became, I took my initials, LBO.
Yeah.
And I was like, leg back on, limb, blah, blah. I was just thinking and putting words together, and it became living beyond obstacles. And it's kind of a perfect thing. And it started out, I thought I was going to be all about like amputee inspired things. And then I thought, no, let's just open this up to like the world and, how everybody faces obstacles in life.
Yeah.
And, make it more wide reaching. See, I really want to like spread my arms and do a gesture right there, but
not at the moment.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I did. And, I figure it's just going to kind of happen organically, and things are happening,
Yeah. That's awesome.
And then I met you.
I know.
And I think I just think to me, when I don't know if we got this on film, but how at the beginning I would look at people with 2 legs and I'd be like, oh God, you don't know how lucky you are.
Right.
Or just to be able to bend down at the knee, like I have to bend forward from the waist. And, wow, all these things you just take for granted, right?
Yeah.
And so just putting everything in perspective. Like, you may have this, I'm missing the leg above the knee. I may wish that it was below the knee. Or then there's somebody that is missing 2 legs. Or somebody that's a hempelvectomy and they're missing their hip also, and it's even harder to walk. Or, it's just it could always be worse.
Yeah, somebody always has it worse than you.
Yeah.
Quite a few years ago, it took me a long time. I'm 11 years into this injury. It took me probably like 7 to 8 years to figure out that, all right, let's take this situation and let's make something bigger and better out of it. Like, this is no longer about me. I have this opportunity and this platform, with like the internet, Instagram, YouTube, stuff like that, to be able to reach so many people. Let's take advantage of this and let's try to help people and change perspectives.
I love it.
And then that's how this idea was born, to strap people. I wanted to do something different, not just like a regular talk show. How can I make something different that'll stand out? Strap somebody in one of my old wheelchairs. Let's
That's amazing.
try to give them some perspective.
Do you have like any people that you like mentor, or like somebody has, let's say, a new spinal injury? Do you go meet with them and kind of give them hope, like, oh, this isn't the end, and do kind of stuff like that?
No. So through Instagram, I've had a lot of new people with new injuries reach out to me via that and just be like, it's awesome to see you doing so well. I just had a spinal cord injury a few months ago or last year or whatever. I'm kind of struggling.
Yeah.
So kind of through the internet, I'll do that. But as far as like going to the hospital, like right after, I was just speaking with a friend of mine's mother the other day he has a spinal cord injury, and he actually has gone to the hospital and spoken with people. But she brought up a good point where it's so early in an accident to try and like process and accept something like this as being permanent, that early in the accident. A lot of people are like, oh no, I'm going to be fine in a month or whatever. Like, you can't grasp that this could potentially be the rest of your life.
Shock. Yeah, complete shock. Yeah. That, at the beginning it's like, you don't really want to listen to a lot of that stuff. And kind of at this stage of the game, hopefully you can just kind of throw in some positive stuff and help somebody who's suffering maybe, but
that's the goal now.
Yeah.
Try to help who you can.
That's it.
Yeah. So kind of on that topic, I'm sure just about everything in your life has been altered by this. From small things to large things. You know, you mentioned getting into a car is different.
Yeah.
But like, what's been the biggest kind of adjustment you've had to make?
I mean, it's hard to think of that right now because I feel like in a really good place.
Right.
You know, 2 years post. It's this month. It's 2 years since I got my first leg. And as I was saying before we turned the camera on, you know, I had 2 not so good sockets, which made it difficult to get out. But now I'm pretty, you know, independent. I got my, you know, I had to drive with my left leg. These are things you don't think of as you're laying there looking at your residual limb. You're like, oh shit, that's the foot that I drive with. Like, how am I going to drive? Well, they have left accelerator pedals, and they can teach you how to drive with their hand controls. And then I had to get a prescription in order to get the conversion done to my car. And that was probably one of the best days of my life, to be able to have that freedom again.
Yeah, that independence.
To go out on my own, not have to call somebody to go to the drugstore that's like a mile away. It's like, I can do that by myself now.
Right.
Because it's easy to just say, yeah, I'm just going to lay around the house today, and I'm going to use my walker and sit on the couch and not put my leg on because it hurts, you know?
Yeah.
Now I get it on, and I just, you know, go do what I got to do, which has just been amazing.
That you're able to do what you have to do now.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then in February, which is like around the corner, I'll be getting a new knee.
Oh, yeah?
Which is going to be computerized. This is just a hydraulic knee. I'm getting what they call a C-leg, which is computerized leg. Well, they call it a C-leg, computerized leg. And so that'll have like some different settings that I'll be able to do things that I haven't been able to do thus far.
So like when you take a step, it'll know to swing, or
it'll learn
like
my gait pattern kind of, whereas this one I had to physically step on the toe, swing the leg, make sure the heel hits the ground and feel the vibration through my leg.
Yeah.
Then I know to straighten and push down. You know, it's just a lot of work, a lot of mental work. But it'll be a learning curve again to learn how to use the new knee. But anyway, it's really exciting.
Yeah, it sounds like it.
It'll
It'll just help you a little more. Like days when you're just sitting at home not doing anything, it sounds like those were more in the past for you, which is good. But when those days that were extremely hard and they were crushing you mentally, how do you personally get past stuff like that?
You know, I don't know. I remember thinking, you know, it's kind of like a death. You know, when somebody dies, people are around, or an accident happens, everybody's around at the beginning. And then, like, for me, it's like, oh, look, she got a leg, everything's fine. And it's like, yeah, no, it's not fine. Like, I'm on a long journey, you know?
Yeah.
Whereas now I'm in a much better place than that first 2 years, let's say. But people just kind of go away and they get back into their lives, and, you know. And so I found myself alone, and I thought, wow, what am I going to do? Am I going to die from this? Like, has anybody died from loneliness? And I believe that it is, that's a pretty serious thing.
Yeah.
But you know, somehow I came up with an idea. I got my leg on the next day. I told myself, all right, you got to get, not in that particular moment, but the next day I managed to get up, get out, and being around people and going back to the gym and, you know, just living life.
Yeah.
You know, so everything is temporary in terms of like your emotional state. You may feel a certain way. So like the good times, enjoy them. They're not going to last. And the bad times, those will pass too.
Yeah.
You know, so just kind of keep going. Put one foot in front of the other.
Exactly. Know? Yeah, and
wheel.
people, like you said in the beginning of an injury or a death or something like this, a lot of people are there for support, and it's awesome.
Yeah.
But then, you know, they have their own lives as well. Life continues to move. They got to get back on their journey, just like we have to get back on ours. But yeah, I've found the same thing. You know, you kind of have to try a little harder to stay in people's lives. You know, stagnant things tend to get left in the past.
I think it forced me though to do that.
Yeah.
Like it forced me to say, all right, Lisa, nobody's doing this for you.
Yep.
You know, it's up to you now, right? Everything we do, everything, happiness, all of that stuff, it's up to me. It's not your responsibility. So-and-so isn't around for you anymore, but you know, they don't have to be, you know?
Yeah.
Just because I would like them to behave a certain way, they do their thing, right?
Yeah.
So I'm responsible for it.
Yeah.
And that's basically, look, my glasses are falling down. Can you push them up on my nose?
Yeah, you might
Let
be
me
able
see.
to with that if it's strong enough.
No, I don't think so. Nope.
Kyle, you want to help her out?
It's all right. It's not, I mean, they're not going to fall off. It's just funny. I'm so used to like just taking my finger right there.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's
Pushing them up.
That's just another example. That's kind
Yeah.
of like what I try to get across with doing the Rubik's Cube challenge.
Yes,
is that,
I love that.
Everything that I do, I need help with. Kyle helps me, feeds me every day. Like people brush my teeth for me. They
Amazing.
put a shirt on. He literally gets me out of bed in the morning, scoops me up like a little baby, sets me in my
Yeah.
chair.
Yeah.
And that's just another perspective, is that some people can't even reach up to push their glasses back on their forehead.
Right.
And somebody may be out there complaining that they're having a bad hair day. Or
Oh,
whatever,
yeah.
like,
Oh, you know, that's the thing too. Like if somebody says like, I really shouldn't complain to you, but I'm like, it's okay. You're allowed
right,
to.
you still have your own
Yeah.
problems.
I mean, everybody's got something. It's okay. I'm
Yeah.
not like, you know,
Yeah,
I'm not like an ogre, and I'm not going to be like, how dare you complain about something so
right.
trivial. Well, to you, it's not trivial, and you are in pain. Pain is pain, right?
Exactly.
You know, so
It's
you
all
can-
relative.
Yeah.
Some people's just worse than others.
exactly.
Yeah. So kind of back to your apparel line, what's something that you may not be able to fit on a shirt that you would like to tell somebody who's going through a similar situation that you did 2 years ago, or somebody just in life who is having a really hard time? Something that may help them out.
Like this too shall pass. You can't imagine it, and it is so cliche, but you know, there must be another way to say that. But anything that you're going through isn't the permanent, it's not the destination. Like this is a journey now that you're on, and there will be really difficult times, you know, mentally, physically, but you will be fine. You will do okay. You will get past this, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what I'm trying to share with a friend of mine who's going through it right now. And she seems to be doing 1,000 times better than I was, but I feel like maybe because she had me to, you know, to know, I think there's two sides. It's like, oh my God, I know somebody that went through that, and I know the shit that she went through.
Right.
That's scary, but also to see me on the other side, to know that, you know, I'm living my best life. I'm living life now.
Right.
You know?
There is life after.
There is life after the injury, and she's just doing incredibly well. And I just say, you know, you're gonna have difficult times. You're gonna be like, holy shit, what am I gonna do now? It's scary,
Yeah.
you know? The not knowing what the future holds. Like, am I ever gonna do this again? Am I ever gonna? It's all gonna come. You will get a leg. You will walk again. You will go back to work. If you know, any
Right.
of this stuff, it
can all be figured out along the way.
it's all figure outable.
Yeah.
You know, it just takes time.
Well, I think that's pretty good advice.
Yeah.
And once again, the point of this show is to change people's perspectives. Hopefully somebody out there, whether they have a spinal cord injury or maybe they just had a leg amputated or they're waiting to have some limb amputated, hopefully they can hear our stories, hear you sharing your story and your strength and how far you've come and how you've talked about you were in a dark place and now you're doing so much better and you have a lot going on and you just have a great perspective and mentality now. And hopefully they can take that and they can apply it to their life and say, you know what, I can do this.
That's right.
You know, and
Yeah.
then hopefully they'll be better off for listening to this.
I hope so.
So I want to thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you.
It's great to meet you, and I'm
Yes,
sure that
good
we'll
to
be
meet
chatting and hopefully working together in the
I
future.
hope so. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Me as well.
Yes, thanks, Cruz.
Well, thank you so much again, and I hope you guys all enjoyed this. I'll put some of Lisa's links in the description below so you can check out her apparel line, and feel free to reach out to either of us. I think we'd love to hear from somebody who may need some help.
Absolutely.
All right. So thanks for tuning in, guys, and we'll see you next week on Paralyze This.